Hello, it's 9 p.m. in Djibouti. It's time to English New Edition. For tonight headlines, we have the head of state has received the commanders-in-chief of AFRICOM in the presidential palace concerning international scene, starting of 11th round of Astana talks with Syria and rebellion. Welcome to our newsroom. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, has received an audience this Thursday. At the end of the morning at the Presidential Palace, the head of the American Military Command for Africa, AFRICOM, General Thomas Waldhauser. This meeting allowed General Waldhauser to discuss with President Guelleh the friendship and cooperation relations between the two friendly countries. Cooperation between the Republic of Djibouti and the United States of America, particularly in the areas of counterterrorism and promotions of peace, was also at the center of discussions between the President of the Republic and his host American. This working visit of General Thomas Waldhauser is also his fourth since his appointment in July 2016 to the head of the U.S. Military Command for Africa, the Djiboutian Defense Ministers Ali Hassan Bahdoun, and the Chief of the General Staff of the Djiboutian Armed Forces, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, also attend this hearing. On the American side, beside his principal collaborator, General Thomas Waldhauser was accompanied by the Ambassador of the United States of America in Djibouti, Mr. Larry Andres Jr. At the exit of the audience, the high-ranking U.S. military General Thomas Waldhauser told the national press that this meeting with the head of state of Djibouti once again underlines the privileged relations that we share for a few years and that we have been rebuilding in recent years. Following my appointment, we talked about topics relating to our mutual commitment to security, the Lemonnier camp, and the fraternity between the people of Djibouti and the members of our American service. The discussions were fruitful.
Well, thank you very much. Ambassador Andre and I, along with our Djiboutian colleagues, met with the President this morning, and this is the fourth or fifth time or so I think that I've met with him, and it just once again underscores the relationship that we have, the relationship of trust that we've really built over the last few years, certainly since I've been in this particular job. So we talked about issues that have to do with mutual engagements. We talked about security issues. We always talk about Camp Lemonnier and the relationship between the Djiboutian people and our U.S. Service members there. So again, it was a fruitful discussion, but and it was very, very positive.
Juste à dire que nous avons beaucoup profité de la.
For his part, the Defense Minister Ali Hassan Bahdoun has indicated that these meetings were fruitful and very positive, and AFRICOM has a huge issue concerning the security of Africa, and it is necessary to meet them with these kinds of meetings. The Minister of Defense in charge of relations with the Parliament, Ali Hassan Bahdoun, has received today at his cabinet the Chief of the Staff of the Army of France, General François Lecointre, accompanied by His Excellency Christophe Guillou, Ambassador of Djibouti of France to Djibouti, Colonel Thierry Laval, the Defense attaché in the Embassy of France, and a large military delegation. In addition to the Minister of Defense, took part in this meeting. On the Djiboutian side, Armed Corps General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, the Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces, Brigadier General Tahir Ali Mohammed, Chief of Staff of Acting Defense, and Commanders of Commander Elias Abdullahi Guelleh, head of the cabinet of the Minister of Defense in charge of relations with the Parliament. Army General François Lecointre, Chief of Staff of the French Army, is in Djibouti to make a 2-day official working visit. The Minister first and foremost welcomed Djibouti to his guests and to the delegations accompanying him. For his part, the Army General François Lecointre thanked the Minister for the warm and fraternal welcome that has been reserved since his arrival on Djibouti's soil. The meeting between the minister and his host is focused on existing bilateral cooperation relation between the two countries, and more particularly on cooperation between the two armies. The two authorities discussed the regional security situation, but also the deployment of our contingent in the Somali peacekeeping mission, AMISOM. The Interior Minister, His Excellency Hassan Omar Mohammed, has today signed a contract with the official representative of the German company, the homologue in Djibouti, Mr. Sharif Daha C, as part of the establishment of a biometric system for identity card, the documents of the civil status and permit in Djibouti. The ceremony took place in the presence of the ambassador of the Federal Republic of Germany in Djibouti, Djiboutian officials, including the mayor of Djibouti, the general director of the national police, Abdullah Abdi Farah, the general directors of the population and the family, Mr. Ahmed Umar, as well as the prefect and the different regions from the country. The signing of this contract marks a historic step in the advancement of the Republic of Djibouti in terms of new technologies, responding to a strong government will initiate by the head of state, Ismail Gelle. The launch of this large-scale project provides for the establishment of a multi-purpose biometric registration system for national biometric identity card, the National Biometric Civil Registration System to record and keep births, deaths, and reading driving license, the abyss of the biometric criminal police system, a database that will capture and record all national criminal record, the electronic driving license and registrations of car, as well as biometric foreign worker card. The implementation of this system will also provide a biometric database that will strengthen national security. On his part, the General Director of the Population, Mr. Ahmed Umar Jama, indicated the importance that reveal the Republic of Djibouti the years of precedence to make all the documents of the civil registration national. For his part, in an intervention, the Minister of Interior, Hassan Omar Mohammed, affirmed his great satisfaction and pride for his participation in the ceremony to sign a convention which aims to hand over the identity card and all the documents of the civil status and administrative in biometric documents. The Minister of Communication in charge of Post and Telecommunication, His Excellency Abdi Yusuf Suge, has received this morning a delegation from the International Telecommunication Union. The delegation composed of the two experts in telecommunication, Mahmoud Al-Qawaisar and Mr. Desiree Kariabawite. The discussion is focused on the achievable progress made by the Djibouti Telecom Company and the implementation of the WIMAX networks in all educational and health structure. The delegation was delighted by the truly significant progress made by Djibouti Telecom in the digital sector, and this is an asset for a whole continent. Djibouti is a global hub for these distributions of the digital network. For his part, the Minister of Communication, Abdi Yusuf Suge, thanked the experts of the International Telecommunication Union for their visit to Djibouti. He invited them that Djibouti will have met all the challenges in terms of digital. For his part, the Minister of Communication, His Excellency Abdi Yusuf Suge, said that the experts have seen firsthand the great achievement of our operators in Djibouti Telecom. He also said that the establishment of the network WIMAX for the educational and health structure will soon be operational, which will help improve the living conditions of our fellow citizens. The The Minister of Higher Education and Vocational Education and Research, Nabil Mohammed Ahmed, accompanied by the Ambassador of Djibouti to Germany, Adan Mohammed Dileta, and the General Directors of CERD, Mr. Jalaluddin Mohammed. He is currently on a mission to Vienna, Austria, to the International Agency for Atomic Energy, where the first ministerial conference on atomic sciences and technology in the service of development is being held. As part of this mission, the minister visits several research laboratories and met with EIEA officials. During his speech, the minister welcomed the initiative of this conference and mentioned the support provided by the Republic of Djibouti since joining the International Agency for Atomic Energy in 2015, including accreditations of the Organic and Environmental Chemistry Laboratory, the establishment of the Closimetry unit, the endowment of a stable isotope analyzer. Finally, the minister reiterated on this occasion the opportunity to set up in Djibouti the Regional Observatory on Climate Change. The ambassador of Djibouti in Addis Ababa and permanent representative of Djibouti in African Union met Mohammed Idris Farah has rendered in Somalia to present the meeting of the Councils of Peace and Security of the African Union. The ambassador has met with the Prime Ministers of the Federal Republic of Somalia, Mr. Hassan Ali Khaire, as well as the special representative of the Secretary General of the United Nations, the partner of Somali, and the civil society. Our ambassador has interviewed with the commanders of the forces of America in Somalia, the ambassador of Djibouti in Ethiopia, and the representative of our country in the African Union, Mr. Mohammed Idris Farah, has represented in the three sectors 1, 2, 3, and 4 of the Djiboutian forces, of more precisely in the region of Hiran and Beledweyne. The delegations of the Council of Peace remember that our countries presented the present councils for the peace and security of the African Union. For his part, Ambassador Mohammed Idris Farah has in his speech that the peace he said that Peace and Security Council remains the situation in Somalia within the next days, and more specifically, the Army Chief of the American countries will have a meeting tomorrow, Friday, 13th afternoon. Under the chairmanship of the Member of Parliament, Charmake Musa Are, the Finance General Economy and the Planning Committee of the National Assembly met today to consider the draft supplementary budget law for the 2018 financial year. The government was represented by several ministers, namely Budget Minister Bodi Ahmed Roble, the State Secretary for Youth and Sport Hassan Mohammed Kamil, the Minister of Labor Hassan Idris Samriye, the Minister of Interior Hassan Omar Mohammed, the Minister of Health Dr. Jama Ilmi Okiye. The many non-members of the committee also took part in this meeting. The parliamentarians auditioned the member of the government on the budgetary implications of their ministerial department. The agenda was how were used the funds of the different ministries in the year 2018. The Embassy of Japan celebrated last night at the Hotel Kempinski the National Day of Japan, also called the birthday of the Emperor, 14th anniversaries of the diplomatic relations between Djibouti and Japan. The ceremony was attended by the Japanese ambassador Mr. Koji Onetani, Foreign Ministers Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, the Minister of Transport Mohammed Abdul Qadir Musa Halem, the Ministers of Telecommunication Abdi Yusuf Suge, the President of the Chamber of Commerce Yusuf Musa Dawale, the Member of Parliament Fatuma Hamadou, the various ambassadors accredited to Djibouti, senior Djibouti and international first leaders and guests. On this occasion, the Japanese embassy has organized a traditional game called Kagami Wari and a presentation of the dance of Tokama by the Japanese force stationed in Djibouti. The foreign ministers congratulated the Japanese government and its people for their brilliant victory in organizing the World Expositions in Osaka in 2025. For his part, the ambassador of Japan stressed that the Republic of Djibouti and Japan have bilateral relations, and several factors have served as catalysts for the process of strengthening ties between the two countries. As part of the week against violence against women, the Bilisu Associations of Neighborhood 6 today gathered a group of about 50 women for a visit to the country's largest media, the RTD. During this visit, this group of women was able to meet the various leaders, animators, columnists, and producer of our courses, the general directors of the RTD, Abdul Qadir Ahmed Idris, to raise awareness and promote through this media the strengthening of the fight against violence due to women. This week that has been celebrated around the world has been a very important echo this year in our country, and thanks to the support of the First Lady and the President of the UNFT, Khadra Mahmoud Haid. Indeed, through the UNFT, the First Lady launched the idea of last Sunday's march and was the initiators of the man and woman gathering to say no to violence. If this week's slogans was less than to break the silence, we can say that easily today this week has had a great echo that broke this silence. The National Unions of the Djiboutian Women, UNFT, held a sensitization and training workshop for associations and family to promote the health of the children for birth up to 3 years and older during the first 1,000 days. The workshop was facilitated by the coordinator of the UNFT, Mrs. Mariam Kako, in the presence of the leaders of the association and health manager. Concerning international scene, the Astana process for Syria continues. Emissaries for Iran and Russia and Turkey began talks yesterday in the Kazakh capital that are due to end today. The Kazakh Foreign Ministry said Syrian government and opposition delegations are also taking part, according to the ministry statement, which states that discussions focused on the situations in the Idlib province, the conditions for the return of refugees and displaced persons, and the post-conflict reconstruction, the dispute. This discussion is the 11th since the launch of the Astana process in January 2017, are taking place while several developments have taken place in recent weeks in the field of diplomatically. The province of Idlib, the last major insurgent and jihadist stronghold in Syria, has been the scene of sporadic bombing and clashes between regime forces and jihadists for several weeks. This is it for today's news. Thanks for watching us.